Imagine a line of children trailing each other blissfully, skirting around the garden playground, weaving in and out of a teepee, under and over wooden structures and through plants. Laughter and banter fill your ears, while another group of children work carefully, like a restaurant of chefs, creating a chocolate cake from shaving foam, sand, leaves, and whatever else they've been able to find in the playground of their early education centre. Could this be children learning? Can this be children getting ready for school in the not too distant future? Or are they running around with no sense of purpose in a chaotic setting? Good evening and welcome to my presentation of the schoolification of early childhood. What is schoolification? Schoolification is to make children ready for school. Schoolification generally involves imperiling children who are still in the early childhood education to the cultures of primary school. Schoolification pushes the early childhood educators to implement practices of that of primary school, meaning a greater focus on academic content and less playtime. Stepping from the early childhood education environment to primary school is a huge step for any child. This transition needs to be both supportive and a stress-free experience for children, as it can influence the chances of reaching their full potential at school, both academically and socially. Are schoolification and school readiness the same? Interpretations of what these words mean differs between childcare professionals, parents and teachers to the policymakers and regulators. Most childcare professionals believe that schoolification should be defined as characterized as children who are able to count 1 through 10, know the alphabet, and have been exposed to the Common Core curriculum with tests and targets. Schoolification is academically based, while being school ready is play-based learning and children demonstrating strong social skills, such as are able to cope emotionally with separation from parents and guardians, are equipped to deal with their own personal care, demonstrate a curiosity about the world, show desire to learn. Many early childhood educators believe that children approaching school age should be displaying confidence, independence, and curiosity, rather than cognitive and academic skills, for example, reading and writing. Schoolification is a subject of much discussion. It is a subject that often pops into the political agendas and is discussed regularly at childcare. It is now believed that a child's readiness for school is not solely reliant on a child's parents or guardians, but that of a larger community. As they have said for generations, it takes a village to raise a child. Framed now as a social responsibility of a child's parents and caregivers, childcare professionals, teachers, children professionals, and equally important, the government and all have parts to play. This is evident with the investment made into kindy programs. Whilst the children trailing around the grounds and the group making the chocolate cake you have just imagined may look to be just playing around, they are actually practicing a wide range of skills. In order to bake their cake and go under and over the wooden structures, the children are using fine motor skills, gross motor skills. They are sharing and taking turns. They are socializing and interacting with each other. They are working as a team and they are learning to use their own thinking skills. These children are also using mathematical language during play. We need more or less. Is this heavy? Is this higher or lower? This kind of play or child-led activities such as these are the concept that they can come and go inside and outside of the classroom as they please is common practice in early childhood education. But many would disagree that this is the best way of preparing the children for school. The French model of the early years has a strong focus on structured learning. Would this be the right way for children to be prepared for school? What are the implications of bringing out the tables and chairs and closing the doors to the children and the educators? Is schoolification the right way to go, even though it would lessen the experiences for the children? The preparation for school and indistinctness of what is it actually means has caused uncertainty, with interpretations differing greatly, some being focused on cognitive, educational and development, and others pedagogical, social and emotional development. Increasing focus within Australia and other countries have been on cognitive and educational. This is evident with the new qualifications required for childcare professionals and changes in the child to educator ratio and how children are assessed at this young age. Though the social pedagogical approach far differs from schoolification with its broad preparation for life, reaching beyond the school-based curriculum. In a number of Nordic countries, early education is motivated by children's confidence and social skills. Not prescriptive like a checklist of what children can and cannot do before starting school, these countries instead have statements of purpose, outlining the values and purpose of early education. Admittedly, the broader framework is harder to measure and translate into attainment measures that school use past their foundation year. Being able to scrutinise the knowledge and interpretations of those involved in the transition to school. Childcare professionals, parents, guardians and teachers will serve to define what is needed for a child to be school ready. Arriving into school, children bring with them a broad range of life experiences. Coming from different families, cultures, environments, the childcare setting, the children arrive with all levels of development. Excuse me. Bringing with them through the gates of school a packet of diverse experiences, a well of knowledge, mastered skills, and their brain wired and ready for new information, and most importantly, a disposition towards learning. Measuring diversity, being ready to enter school, is to capture the skills and abilities children require as a minimum before they start school. Long-term attainment is critically shaped by the children's development in 4 key areas: language development and communication skills, attitudes and dispositions, social competence and self-esteem, and emotional well-being. Excuse me. Researchers Pascal and Bertram believe that school ready should be synonymous with life ready, unlike schoolification, which focuses on being academically ready, thus underrating the significant role that early childhood education plays and the importance in child development. In agreement with Pascal and Bartram, Allen's research indicates that having a social and emotional foundation skills, progress, speech, perception, ability to understand numbers and quantities, motor skills, attitudes to work, concentration, memory and social conduct, the ability to engage positively with other children, and the ability to respond appropriately to teachers' requests are the foundation for the transition to school. Focusing on schoolification takes away the children's time for play-based learning, where they do not get the opportunities to develop social skills that is the core for readiness. Admittedly, there is a long list of social skills that children require before starting the foundation year. Turn-taking, cooperation, empathy, and the ability to express one's own emotions are key in a smooth transition to school, as described by High. The ability to be ready falls back on to the professional childcare educators, parents and guardians, and other children modelling the skills required. Social skills are linked closely to learning abilities. According to High, a confident child who can interact and talk to other children enhances their abilities to learn other skills, for example, numeracy and literacy. Independence and self-sufficiency are both key in personal care and confidence. This covers a mirage of things for children in this age group: the ability to be separated from parents for a number of hours, to be able to use the toilet independently. These are crucial skills for children to have for when they start school. Without these skills, the transition is stressful and upsetting. Many of these skills are learnt by playing and socialising, not by sitting at a desk learning to write. With the potential of losing these skills through schoolification, it would also be damaging to the children's confidence and enthusiasm for learning. These skills are not something an adult can give a child. They are skills developed inwardly as a direct result of a range of experiences. Time is what is needed to build upon, to grow the child, sensing that they are capable. Lots of experiences of managing things themselves, along with making their own decisions, enables this to happen. The desire to learn is pivotal for a child's entry to school, the foundations of learning. Pacey believes that if children are pressured to academically achieve at a young age, it could be damaging for the child's future learning. Early childhood education is about igniting the desire by encouraging the child to explore ideas and concepts. Professional childcare educators should be talking with children about the world around them and creating that curiosity, providing the children with opportunities to become engrossed within activities of their own choosing. Schoolification takes these choices away from the children, giving the decision-making back to the educators. It also changes the way children behave. Children sitting in chairs at tables expect to be led by an adult. Thus, I believe, it would be counterproductive. Children will miss out on a large part of physical play development with schoolification due to being confined indoors and sitting in chairs. Schoolification and shutting the doors to the outside will be detrimental, as children will lose the ability to combine an array of different motor skills they need for school, such as core strength for balance and stability. An important part of development is play. It enables children the chance to attain not only physical skills, but cognitive, language, and social. For success in primary school, play is a key principle for learning. Learning from peers, parents, and educators by way of interaction, using language, gestures, and symbols to communicate. With these skills conquered, the children become socially apt and confident, ready to learn and keen to learn. Dramatic play requires concentration and inspiration for children to maintain the activity. Demonstrating the ability to pretend play shows the children has moved from the more sensory motor way of thinking to symbolic types of thinking as adults do. The ability to conduct dramatic play ensures the abilities to improve reading, writing, and many other skills required for school. Excuse me. Dramatic play enables children to reflect on their emotions, being able to reenact a happy memory and enjoy the feeling again or cope with other feelings. Children need to feel secure within their education facility. Play helps to build a bond with their educator who is part of their lives on a regular basis. A secure attachment provides the foundations for children to feel safe and protected, allowing them the comfort to explore the world. These relationships create motivated play and gives them the tools for positive interactive play with their peers and adults. Less play-based time affects these relationships and places more emphasis on the teacher-led lessons. Children indicate they are ready for more formal learning when they show an interest. It is important to remember that each child is unique and learns at a different rate. Schoolification takes the trust away from the children, not allowing them to be agents of their own learning. Competent in their own learning, schoolification does not give children the opportunity to engage in the world, to express themselves and interact with other like pedagogical approaches. The focus of schoolification is more academic for the child's approach to school. Writing and reading outweighs the status of social skills and development. An essential question that is relevant in this context is the relationship between the traditional responsibilities of early childhood education, the care and play, and the relationships-orientated broad education. And on the other hand, the newly empowered focus on learning and other academic activities. However, the external pressures of schoolification-like activities is increasing. The early childhood educators themselves still tend to value the traditional relationships and play-orientated mentalities and activities. Early childhood educators guide children through the most important learning years of a child's life, the years when the brain is making the most connections and understandings. The focus for early childhood educators is to teach through play, offering a hands-on interactive environment where the children learn about themselves and the world around them through playing and exploring with other children. For educators, schoolification will be exposing the children to the culture of primary school, more educator-directed lessons rather than play-based, child-driven learning environments. The type of engagement within activities changes with schoolification-driven focus. Children will be expected to engage in activities in ways that adults do. The children's physical environment will change. The number of peers in the room, the rules, and the routines will all change to be more school-like. And with it, the early childhood educators' expectations of the children themselves and the department. Children of today are exposed to so many things each day that force them to grow up. They are in a world that never rests, that information is only the click of a button away, and many are reliant on these technologies for their entertainment and knowledge as parents are too busy in their own worlds. Early childhood education allows children to be children whilst learning about the world they live in. It encourages them to get wet or dirty, to find out new things. Pedagogical education of young children exposes them to the world of creativity, to the world of their imaginations, where singing, dancing, painting, exploring are all the norm as they discover the world and how they fit into it. That concludes my presentation on the schoolification of early years. Please feel free to ask any questions.
Donna, that was lovely. Well done.
Thanks.
It was really great. I'm really interested in your statistics and the French model. So where did you find out about what they're doing in France? I think what they're doing in France is a lot like what they're doing in England. Because in England, they're 3.
Yes.
And they're in uniforms and they toddle off to school and sit at desks, yeah.
The English are actually basing theirs off the French.
Really? So where did you find that out about French?
So I found it on a website which is starting strong too, Early Education and Care.
Right.
Yeah, so they publish quite frequently actually.
Oh, yeah, because it's very scary.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you got the contrast in with the Nordic countries because they get it right.
And they do. I mean,
they do.
By the time they've finished their education, they're proving to be better academically than we are in the English and the French. So
yeah, definitely. You know, that was really great. Yeah. And it was good to see those statistics, the percentages. You know, realising that so many early childhood teachers, everybody agrees or disagree. You know, they're the sort of statistics that should be shoved under the politicians' noses.
Absolutely.
And say, look at this, look at this. Why are you trying to change it?
Yeah.
You know, this is what we all think.
Yeah. Donna, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I can't see where I am. But anyway, like at your work, do you have to advocate for play-based learning, or are your parents, they're knowledgeable in it and they accept? Because I just know that sometimes parents, they want their kids to know the alphabet and you know, count to 20 before they come to school. But are you able to have parent information sessions at your work?
So we do have parent information sessions, but where we are situated, we've got quite a lot of academics. So they are you know, we want our child to be able to count. What can we do at home to make them, you know, further this and do this? And so it's interesting to talk to them and say, well, you know, we do it via play, and so the kids don't even know that they're learning. And many of the parents sort of go, oh, okay. So they're quite surprised that they're able to do it in a way that the kids will get to prep and they'll know so much, but the kids will have no recollection of how they got to know it. It was just so, you know, well, when we were at kindy, we played in the sandpit, or we sang, or we danced, or in my warm-up or whatever in the morning when we're calling the roll, we do the sound waves chant. And to the kid, it's just singing and dancing, but they're learning the sounds. And they think it's awesome. So, you know, it's just little things like that. And parents just don't seem to understand that unless they've got some idea about education. They think that at some stage during the day, you're sitting down with them and you're doing, this is A, this is B, like what they do at home.
Yeah.
So what I've just done a selection, I've just had what we call teacher-parent chatting, where we meet with the parents individually and say, you know, this is what we're doing and this is how we do it. And they're just like, oh, okay. That sort of makes sense. It's like, okay, so don't be teaching your kid, putting pressure on them to do A, B, C, because it's not needed.
It's all about the desire to learn.
Absolutely.
That's more important than what they have learnt, like at that age.
Yeah.
That was really good. Thank you. I really did like all those percentages as well. That was really...
No, it was great, Donna. Yeah. No, and it's always good to find something that, you know, I wasn't aware of, and I wasn't aware of the French connection in terms of what they're doing. Doesn't surprise me. You know, that was really interesting. Yeah. And just the way that it's happening here, that they want all this, it's this push down of curriculum, and the schools that are sending what they want to the local childcare centres. This is what we want them to know before they come to prep.
Yes. I was talking to...
I was one of those. I was horrified.
I was talking to a former kindy owner just recently, and she said that there is a push to have the pre-prep year put into schools.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, I thought that was really interesting.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah.
Well, I do, because talking about this sort of mandated kindergarten hours for children, aren't they? Yeah. But they've got to find the money to do it.
That's true.
I mean, they were only able to do prep because they sold off all the preschool. A lot of the preschools were sold off, and that gave them money. And they didn't have to accommodate toilets and things. That was the other big reason, was when they were to build a new preschool centre, cost so much money, requirements for toileting and a staff, you know, and a kitchen and an office. And once to school, oh, you don't need any of that. They've already got the toilets there. So it was a prep class, a prep ones at the school that was lucky. But if it was a prep in another campus, like some of the preps were sort of down the road or in the next block, they sold them.
Yeah.
And they just converted a couple of classrooms. So it was a really cheap, nasty way of shoving kids into school.
Yeah.
Early. It was horrible.
If I press stop share and stop recording.
Yeah. Stop. Yeah, it'll stop. Yeah. So you feel it. Just click. You've clicked